Well, the 2020 Supra was launched in Detroit and I was there and I did a walkthrough, and when I was doing that I noticed there was a lot of vents on the car and some of them might have been a bit fake. So let's get into that. I'm Eric and this is RevMatchTV and I make videos about cars, and I was in Detroit lately and it's actually pretty expensive to go to a place like Detroit and to cover the auto show, so I have started a Patreon page where if you like the content that I'm making, you can help me make more by donating on a monthly basis. It can be very small or a little bit more to help pay for things like hopefully an editor, help me go to other car shows and stuff like that. I've still got a full-time job. This is very expensive to run this channel and it takes up a lot of time. And if you want to support me, that would be awesome, but there's definitely no pressure to do that. If you want to get more free stuff, just go to Instagram. I'm posting stuff daily there. But let's get back to the vents on the Supra. Jason Torchinsky from Jalopnik posted an article about this yesterday, and he actually disagrees with the chief designer of Toyota, Tada-san. But first, let's look at all the vents that I noticed. I was there, I filmed them all, so let's take a quick look. So Jason referenced an article that he found on Road and Track magazine, which had an interview with Tada-san, the chief engineer. If you look at the vehicle today, there's holes all over the body, Tada said. They're just capped on the production car. These are for the racing model. When the customer goes and converts it into a racing car or adds the necessary components, these caps come off very easily, so it's pre-made, ready to accommodate. So let's look at these vents again. Let's see which ones are actually easily removable. So right over here you can see we've got these vents in the front grille. This one is blocked off, this one is blocked off, but clearly there's a lot of space back here. There's actually about a foot until you get back to the Raider, so there's a ton of space for aftermarket cooling. You got these vents over here, these little teardrop things right below the front headlights. Apparently those are for braking, and if you look under the car, I think those are going to be pretty easy to remove too. Those are going to be able to just pop right out. So you should be able to do some brake duct cooling if you want. Now, obviously there's going to be a reason why not everybody would want to do that. You don't necessarily want to be running brake ducting to your brakes if you're just running on the street. You're going to add a lot of dirt in there. You're going to put dirt on your brakes and potentially rocks and things like that too. So, you know, if you're just driving around the street, there's really no need to have brake ducting. It's really only when you get onto the track where you build up a lot of heat, a lot of temperature in the rotors that you want to cool them. And it actually makes a huge difference on the track. I can attest to that personally. So these hood vents, you should be able to extract air out of a hood vent and reduce the heat in there. These are not that big. I don't know how much heat you're actually gonna get out of there, but if you open up the hood, looking over here at this picture from, I think it's Motor Trend magazine, it looks like there are no holes in the underside, so you've got metal underneath those vents on the hood. So yeah, Jason was sort of criticizing Toyota for not making, you know, functional removable vents there, and I mean, that's a fine criticism. However, if you're gonna be modifying the car, I think anyone who has a decent amount of ability with a saw is gonna be able to cut those out pretty well, at least on the bottom side of the hood. Obviously on the top of the hood, somebody's going to make an insert or some, you know, little mesh grill or something like that. That's going to be in the aftermarket pretty soon. That's going to be a nice clean cut. Underneath, it doesn't have to be as perfect to vent heat from the hood. But again, you know, there's going to be aftermarket hoods too. There's going to be, you know, carbon fiber hoods and all kinds of cool stuff coming to the aftermarket. So anyways, those are the hood vents. Now the ones in the doors, those are probably an issue. I looked at them pretty closely. I'm going to put them up on screen here as well too. These are vents. They're not really vents. They're just plastic inserts that go into the door, and there's no way you can actually vent anything out of there. If you look at the actual part of the door and you look at the door jamb on the frame of the car, there's no holes there. I mean, the only way you're going to get air through there is if you cut into the inside of the door and you cut into the door jamb and you make some kind of airflow passage there. I'm not exactly sure why you want to do it. It sort of looks like it's for a you know, a rear engine car like an MR2, which clearly this is not. I suppose you might be able to reduce some downforce potentially. I'm not an aerodynamicist, so I don't know, but those don't seem to be too functional. And then we've got these vents, these teardrop vents or whatever things below the rear taillights, and those are clearly not functional either. I looked at them pretty closely on the production model at the auto show. I don't know what you'd do with those. Again, you might be extracting air from underneath the car to improve the aerodynamics and you know, reduce pressure underneath the car. So that's a potential thing. But again, I don't know how effective that's going to be. So I think those are just more for looks as well right now. There's going to be some aftermarket body kits for this car, so people can take this in a whole different direction potentially. So, I mean, to sum it up, yeah, there's a bit of a debate, there's a bit of a dispute going on between Jason Torchinsky and Tada-san. Apparently, I don't know, he's disagreeing with Tada-san. I sort of take it with a grain of salt. This is not the biggest controversy in the world. Yeah, there's definitely some fake vents in the car. There's no question. That is part of the styling, and there's definitely, you're going to be able to open up some of those for, you know, functional purposes to get more air through for cooling. I'm going to leave that to the aftermarket. There's going to be a bunch of cool stuff for this car. Do I have a car in order? Yes, I do. I've actually put an order in for one. I hope that I get a good place in line. This is a pretty expensive car. Let's get real here. This is an expensive car. This is going to cost me a lot of money. It's probably going to be the most expensive car I've bought, actually. In fact, yes, it will. That is a lot of money for me. So the big question is, what color should I get? So the launch edition, of which there's only going to be 1,500 of, comes in black, this Renaissance red, and white. And I'm not really a big fan of any of those three colors. I do sort of like the red, although if I get the red, it's not going to come with a red interior, and the black and the white will. There's another color, and this is from the UK website. It's called Deep Blue Metallic. Now in North America, there's something called Downshift Blue, which is kind of ironic considering it's an automatic. I don't know if it's the same color as this UK color or not. I really do like this Deep Blue Metallic. It looks very similar to the color on my Audi. I think it's pretty nice. And then there's something called Nitro Yellow. And again, I don't know that this is the same color as what's in the UK. I really do like this, and yellow is kind of one of my brand colors as well. And then also in North America, there's something called Tungsten Silver. I'm not sure if it's the same as this particular color right here. I'm not really a big fan of silver cars either. It looks a little bland to me, quite frankly. So what color do you think I should get? Let me know down in the comments. So does it have a BMW-like interior? Yeah, it is pretty BMW inside, but I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, I do drive a BMW. I like BMW interiors. I haven't really heard a lot of people comparing Toyota interiors to BMW interiors and saying that Toyotas are always better. In fact, I would disagree with that. Toyota makes pretty nice interiors, but I think BMW interiors are frankly a little bit nicer. I don't have a problem with it. Yes, it's not the old classic Supra from the 90s, from 17 years ago, but hey, the world has moved on. If you sat in an old Supra, they're very nice, and they have that driver-oriented sort of cockpit thing. But I mean, the switchgear and the plastic, it's from 20 years ago. So I don't want to recreate something personally that is, 20 years old or more. I'd rather have something a little bit more modern. And is this driver focused? Yeah, I actually think it is pretty driver focused. And feel free to disagree with me in the comments, because I know you love to do that. So will the car be friendly to the mod community? Actually, I think it will. So Albin Films, Guff, who I met, nice to meet you, at the premiere, by the way, did a quick little video where he did an interview with Tada-san, and he talks about the mod community. I'm going to play that clip.
他のヨーロッパとかアメリカも、その中でスープラが1、2、3とかだったわけ。そしてなるべくアマチュア主婦に任せてですね。もうスープラのトヨタからはもうガズーレーシングがパーツとかを作る予定とか。パーツっていうか、この車をどんどんね、進化させていって、その過程で生まれるパーツとかね、そういうものは皆さんにね、なるべくたくさん使っていただけるようにしたいと思ってます。ありがとうございます。で、最後にもしカメラにファンにスープラのファンに何かあれば、どうぞお願いします。Hi everybody. Very sorry to keep you waiting so long. Supra is back right now.
I think it's pretty clear that Toyota has meant this car to be modified like the Mark IV, like the Mark III. Before it, the Supra's always been a car which has been, very mod friendly. Toyota has basically gone on record, and right now they're saying that go ahead and modify the car. I take that as a big thumbs up that this car is going to be mod friendly. Just looking at the front of the car, again, the space between the front grille and the actual radiator, there's like a good foot in there. What other car gives you a foot to put aftermarket cooling in? I've been trying to put an oil cooler in my 240SX for way too long. I'm going to finish it really soon. And there's like this much space in there. There's no space to put anything in there because it's such a tight engine bay. This has got so much more space, and that's great. There's been a lot of talk about reliability in the comments, so I got a couple theories about that. You know, BMW reliability versus Toyota reliability. So I have two theories. The partnership between BMW and Toyota started in 2002, and that's when the development of this car got underway. And as you probably know, BMW and Toyota developed the chassis, the core underpinnings of this car, jointly together. Now, the B58 engine actually wasn't in production until 2015. So here's my theory. BMW had this partnership with Toyota, and I think that Toyota, in fact, I'm fairly certain that Toyota has had full access to the engine and been able to, you know, do as much checking out and inspection, fly stuff back to Japan, do whatever they want to make sure that the engine is really going to be up to Toyota standards. It's entirely possible that Toyota has actually been actively working on this B58 engine since 2012, and it came out in 2015. The engine's been on the streets. It's been in several BMWs, about 5 or 6 of them, you know, for about 4 years now. So that's one theory, is that BMW and Toyota have been working together in the engine, and Toyota has made their improvements to make sure that the engine is going to be as reliable as they want it to be to their standards. The second thing is, we know that the BMW Z4 makes 382 horsepower, while the Toyota variant makes 335. I think it's possible that the tuning on them has been, you know, different from Toyota to BMW, and I think that Toyota has essentially detuned it a little bit for reliability. They know that the aftermarket is going to come in and people are going to put a tune on it and immediately get to that 382 horsepower without, you know, probably any trouble at all. So a lot of people, at least initially, are probably not going to do anything to the car. They're just going to drive around it without modding it. And then the mod community is going to come in, and the tunes are going to come in, and parts are going to be available. So people that want to modify the car, when the mod community comes in, there's going to be different parts that people are going to be putting in the car. Hopefully some dutier things, more heavy duty parts, to, you know, perhaps take advantage of additional boost. I don't know if there's some plastic pieces that, you know, on the N54 the charge pipe would pop off, and so I replaced my plastic one with a metal one. I don't know exactly. This is just a theory, but I'm thinking that they have detuned the car a little bit more for reliability and also to leave room for the aftermarket. So yeah, I get it. There's a ton of disappointment because there's a lot of BMW in the car. It has a BMW drivetrain. The interior is sort of largely BMW too. You know, I get it. It's not a Toyota. People are saying the Mark IV is now going to drop in value, but that's not true, because really, when you look at the used car market or any car market where there's a limited number of items and people want it, it's just supply and demand. So the demand for the Mark IV, the MK4, is probably the same as it always was. Maybe it's even gone up a notch. But are there more cars available? No. So supply and demand. So the market, the prices of the Mark IV might even go up in the short term. We'll have to see. We'll wait what happens. But so in my opinion, there's no way that the A90, the new Supra, has any effect on the A80. People are saying that it's a disgrace and all kinds of really derogatory things, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Come on, let's get real here. The release of the A90 has nothing to do with the A80. Yes, it's called a Supra. It's not disparaging the old Supra. It doesn't do anything to the old Supra. There's plenty of old Supras around. Well, not that many, actually. They're pretty expensive. But if you want an old Supra, go buy one. Go get one. No one's stopping you from getting a Mark IV. No one's stopping you from getting any of the previous generations. They're still available. Go buy one. That's got nothing to do with the new car. Really, it's just the name. If you don't like the new car, you can take a pass on it. But you know what? There's a lot of people out there who might be dissing the new one right now, but they're going to come around. I'm looking at the action on Instagram, on my Instagram. I'm looking at Mark V Supra, and by the way, nice to meet you. There's a ton of activity going on. People actually seem to like the new car quite a bit, so let's just wait a couple months. Let's see what happens. Anyways, my name is Eric. I'd love it if you would join my Patreon and also my Instagram. It's right over here. I'm going to make more videos about the Supra, but I'm also going to be switching over to the C8 Corvette in the interim while the Supra news kind of dies down, and some other cars. If there's stuff you want me to look at, there's cars you want me to talk about, definitely leave it below in the comments. I appreciate all of you. See you in the next video.